Alright, now we've got to wait for some people. Okay, alright, so, yeah, let's start the thing. Alright, so what I'm gonna be doing in this live stream is I'm going to be, doing, like, I found this tier list for, I found this tier list, and it's, basically, it's all the Super Sentai villains from Go Ranger to Zenkaiger. Now, here's the thing, when I was looking at the tier list, there was, it didn't have all of the Sentai villains. But I'm going to be ranking them in this tier list. So anyway, let's start. So first off, there's, okay, so first is hold on. Alright, so first we've got, I think it's Agent Umbrella, who is the main villain of Deca Ranger. Now, what made Deca Ranger very interesting is that usually in a Sentai series, the villains are, like, connected or something. Like, the Sentai Rangers fight against just one evil organization or whatever. But with Deca Ranger, it was different, because the alienizers, like, some of them didn't even know that the others existed. But they were all connected because of this guy who, like, gave them the stuff. And then, so I'm going to put him in the A tier. Yeah, next is the guy from Gokaiger, the one who appeared in episode 41. Now, I know that there's a lot of people who like Gokaiger. So I'm going to, but I think that he's like a generic villain, so I'm gonna put him in like B tier. Because I don't really remember a lot of what he did in Gokaiger. Okay, next one. I think, I don't know who this one is, but I think she's from, like, Changeman or something. Either Changeman or Flashman. I think I'll put her in, like, and also B tier. And then next is the guy from Die Ranger. But then he showed up at, like, the same time as Kiba Ranger. I'm also gonna put him at... No, actually, I'm gonna put him at C tier, because he didn't really do anything after the arc that introduced Kiba Ranger. Okay, next is... I forgot the name of this guy, but he was from... His name starts with an A, and he's from Shinkenger. He's the guy that showed up in Shinkenger. So yeah, another thing, I think the list is also in, like, alphabetical order. But this guy is, like, really interesting or something. I'm gonna put him in A tier, because yeah, I think from what I remember from watching Shinkenger, he was, like, a really interesting villain. I think he also, like, made the Shinkenger more serious or something, and then they unlocked their power-up at the time. Okay, the next one, I think this is Amazon Killer from Sun Vulcan. I have put her also in B tier, because I don't really remember what she did. in that one. Next up, we've got the guy from Dynaman. I'm gonna put him in C tier. And then next is the main villain from Bokenger. Now the thing with Bokenger is that it was also similar to Deca Ranger, because there was like, actually it wasn't like Deca Ranger, because there were many different teams of villains in Bokenger, and sometimes they fought against each other, but it wasn't as like spread out as like Deca Ranger. But this guy was like the main villain or something, and then when he showed up, it was like it was in the ones that were like the most important to the plot, except for like actually he did have a part in episode 17, because he brought them back to life as like cyborgs or something. I'm gonna put him in A tier because Bokenger is one of my favorite ones. I've never seen Gal Ranger, so I'm gonna put this guy in C tier. Okay, next is the Questers from Bokenger. I'm also going to put them in the A tier. For the same reason I'm putting that other guy from Bokenger in the A tier. Okay, what's the next one? Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. I think he's the Commander Header from Battle Fever or something. Well, let's see. No, never mind. He's not the guy from Battle Fever. I have no idea where to put him, but I think he was from Live Man or something. It's either Live Man or Bioman. I'm gonna put him in C tier. Actually, I'm gonna put him in D tier. There's the guy from O Ranger. I'm also gonna put him in D tier because and the next is Bandora from Zoo Ranger. I'm going to put her in A tier, even though I don't like Zoo Ranger, and the reason why is because she has a really good explanation to why she's evil or something. I'm not really gonna spoil it because there are some people who haven't watched Zoo Ranger yet, and if you're gonna watch Zoo Ranger, good luck, because Zoo Ranger isn't really a good series. Okay, I don't know who that is. I'm gonna put him in D tier. That's the guy from Mask Man. I'm gonna put him in E tier. Baron Nero from Tokyuger. He wasn't really an interesting villain, so I'm gonna put him in D tier. Basco is gonna be an S tier, because the reason why I'm putting Basco in the S tier is because I thought he was a really good rival to the Gokaigers, and he also introduced like the 6th Rangers and the extra heroes or whatever. So yeah. And then another thing I like about Basco is that he managed to defeat Aka Red. Yeah, and that proves my theory that Aka Red is the worst Sentai Ranger ever. It's because Basco was able to defeat him. Next is one of the guys from Gingaman. I've never watched Gingaman, but I've seen like the monster designs or something. So I think this guy's like a general who had like mechanical weapon themed monsters of the week. I don't really like their design because they look very generic, but I think that's from me watching a lot of Metal Heroes or something. Other than that, I'm gonna put him in the C tier because I think he looks okay. I don't know who that is. I think he's the guy from 5-Man. C tier. No, wait, B tier. This guy, I think it's, he's from Bioman. And then I think he's from this group that was, like, trying to take down the Bioman or something. I'm gonna put him in the B tier because I think he looks cool. His design looks cool. This guy is from Gingaman, but I have no idea what he does. All I know is that it's like a really important role or something that happens in Gingaman. I'm also gonna put him in B tier because I like the design. Next is the Black Cross King from Go Ranger, which is the very first Super Sentai series. I'm going to put him in the A tier because without him, then there wouldn't really be. Without Go Ranger, there wouldn't really be a lot of, or maybe it would be different if Go Ranger wasn't the first Super Sentai. But anyway, yeah. I have no idea who this guy is, but I don't really like his design, so I'm going to put him in E tier. And then we have this guy. I forgot his name, but he appeared in Changeman. And I think I'm going to put him in the B tier because, yeah. Next, we've got... I think it's Baron Ironclaw or something from, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's pronounced Jaka or something. But it's the one that comes after Go Ranger. It's not Ninja Captor. It's the one with the playing card motif. I'm gonna put him in B tier because of I think he has the power to disguise himself as anyone. Okay, next is Brajira or Bredoran. I'm going to put him in the B tier. Gosager was okay. I don't know if this guy was like a good villain or not. Okay, the next one, I have no idea who this guy is. I'm gonna put him in the D tier. And then this guy is also from Gingaman. I'm gonna put him in the C tier. No, actually D tier, because I don't really know what his design is, but I don't really know what he does in the show. Other than that he has like his monsters of the week are like swordsmen or something. And then next is the other main villain from O Ranger. I'm going to put him in C tier because he has more of an impact than the other guy. I have no idea who this guy is, but I'm going to put him in the F tier because I have no idea who he is and I don't like the design of the suit or whatever. Next we've got some more villains from O Ranger. I'm gonna put them at also at C tier because all I know about them is that they make the monsters in O Ranger grow. Next we've got Damaras from Power Rangers Super Mega Force. No wait, Gokaiger. He's from Gokaiger. And I forgot what he does, but I think I'll also give him a B tier because I forgot what he does, but I know I know he had a really good role in Gokaiger, but I forgot what it was. Next is Princess Chimera from Dynaman. I'm going to put her in the S tier for no reason whatsoever. Next we've got the Tuesday guy from Hurricaneger. He has like insect themed monsters of the week. I'm gonna put him in C tier. And then the next one is I forgot what his name is. I think it was Golden Mask or something. He was like the most powerful general of the villains in Go Ranger. I'm gonna put him in B tier just for that. I have no idea who this guy is, but I like his design, so I'm gonna put him in B tier too. Devious was in the Kuroninja versus Tokyuger movie, and he created Deboss, who is the main villain of Kuroninja. And I think he's like one of the oldest characters in the entire series. I'm gonna put him in B tier because of how he secretly influenced, how he was behind the results of Kuroninja or something. But other than that, he didn't really do anything until Tokyuger versus Kuroninja. Next is Daimao. I'm gonna put him in S tier because he was a really good villain for Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger. And then the Kaku Rangers couldn't even defeat him because he was invincible. So they had to like seal him away. I'm sorry if I accidentally spoiled Kaku Ranger, but it's a really good show. I suggest you watch it. Episode 20 is the best episode of Kaku Ranger, by the way. Okay, the next one is I don't remember what he was from. No, wait, he was from Go Go 5, I think. So I'm gonna put him in the F tier because Go Go 5 is one of my least favorite series besides Zoo Ranger. Next, I think she's from Aba Ranger. I don't really know what she did in the story though. So I'm gonna put her in the like E tier. Next is Dayu from Shinkenger. She has a really good backstory. So I'm gonna put her in the A tier. Next is Garza. Not to be confused with the wrestler in WWE. But anyway, he has a really good backstory. He's one of the most developed villains in the series. So I'm gonna put him in the A tier. Next is the guy from Car Ranger. I don't really remember what he did. So I'm gonna put him in the C tier. Next is Destra from where was Destra from again? Oh yeah, I remember where Destra is from. I'll put him in the A tier because he was like a really powerful enemy that the Lupin Rangers and the Pato Rangers had to face. And the next is Insarn from Gokaiger. I'm going to put her in the A tier. Actually, I'm going to put her in the B tier because of some wasted potential or something. Yeah, I don't think her last appearance should have been episode like 47 or something. No, it wasn't episode 47. It was episode 49. Yeah, she should have lasted longer than 49 episodes. Next is Dr. Man from Bioman. Also in B tier. Next is Dagranio from Lupin Ranger vs. Pato Ranger. I am going to put Dagranio in the A tier. Actually B tier because yeah, he wasn't really compared to like the other villains in like A tier and S tier. I thought he was kind of generic or something. But I think one thing that was interesting was that the Pato Rangers couldn't destroy him because the Lupin Rangers were trapped inside of him or something. And next we've got the guy from Shinkenger. I'm also going to put him on B tier because his backstory, he's a really good villain, but his backstory isn't as great as the as the other ones from Shinkenger. Next, we've got Don Del Nero from Time Ranger. I'm gonna put him in C tier because I have no idea what he did. Next is Don Armage or something. I think he's going to go into like, I'm gonna put him in the A tier, but that's because of this big plot twist that happens in Q Ranger. So yeah, there's this plot twist that happens in Q Ranger. I'm not gonna spoil it, but basically he's like the leader of Dark Matter, which is this evil organization in Q Ranger. Now that I think about it, I don't think I really have to warn of spoilers because a lot of people saw Q Ranger already. Next, we've got that guy from Mega Ranger, who is the leader of the bad guys there. I'm going to put him in the B tier because I don't remember what he does in the thing. And I'm gonna put this one. I think she's like another villain from Gal Ranger. I'm also putting her in the C tier. Next is the guy from Gal Ranger who has his own mecha or something, and then I think the idea behind him was that he possessed the sixth, who would later become the sixth Ranger of Gal Ranger. I'm gonna put him in the B tier because his story seems more interesting than the other two from Gal Ranger so far. Next, we've got the Emperor of Darkness Zed from Tokyuger. I'm gonna put him in the A tier because what makes him very interesting, what makes Zed very interesting, is that even though the Tokyuger's villains are like shadow themed, he is themed after like light and stuff. And we don't really get light themed villains that often. I think there should be like more light themed villains because light and darkness doesn't mean good and evil. Like in order for there to be light, there must be darkness, and then it's the other way around. Next is Emperor Yodon. I'm going to put him in the B tier because he was kind of a generic villain, and his other personalities were way more interesting than him. Next is Enter. I'm going to put Enter in the C tier because I found him annoying when I was watching Go Busters. I have no idea why. Next is Eras. If you've seen my video where I've done every Druidon from worst to best, then you would know that I'd put Eras somewhere in C tier or B tier. Actually, I'm gonna put her in the B tier. Next is Dianus from Go-Go 5. I'm going to put her in like the hold on. I'm going to put her in the S+ tier, which is ranked higher than the S tier. No, just kidding. I'm putting her in the A tier. But there will be some additions to the S+ tier. Like Escape from Tokume Sentai Go Busters. I thought that Escape was a really interesting villain. And she was less annoying than Enter in my opinion. And then next we've got Ecliptor from Power Rangers in Space. Actually, I don't remember what he did in Mega Ranger. I don't remember what Ugande did in Mega Ranger. I only remember watching I have better memory of like Power Rangers in Space. But he has a cool design, so I'm gonna put him in the A tier. Next is Boko Waus from Zenkaiger, which is the latest Power Rangers. No, not Power Rangers. The latest Super Sentai season. I'm going to put him in B tier just to be safe because we don't really know much about him. Because as of today when I'm live streaming this, Zenkaiger hasn't finished yet. Also, he reminds me of like those villains in like Space Sheriff. Cause I think in like Space Sheriff Gavin and Sheriff Van and Scheider, the main villain was like this giant statue or something. And he didn't really fight the Rangers up close. I think he will soon in the future. Like, you know, in Power Rangers RPM, there was like the main villain was Venjix, but he didn't really fight the RPM Rangers until much later. And when he did, he had like this robot suit that he took control of to fight the Rangers. So I think what's gonna happen is later in a later episode, Boko Waos might create this like robot body that he uses to fight the Zenkaigers with. And I think what happens is they're gonna only last for like 1 or 2 episodes. But then he later upgrades them into like a stronger robot body. And then in the final episode, he has this really powerful form that he can use to fight the Rangers with. So it's gonna be kind of like Power Rangers RPM. And that's one of my predictions. Next is Farah. I'm going to put her in C tier. I think her bodyguard was way better in Bioman. But her bodyguard is not on the list. Next, we've got Darth Vader from Star Wars. I have no idea what he's doing here. Because this is a not a Power Rangers, I'm sorry. This is a Super Sentai tier list. Not a Star Wars one. So I don't know what Darth Vader's doing on there. I'm going to put him in the B tier because his design is cool. But he was a generic villain in Sun Vulcan. Next, we've got that guy from Goggle 5. He looks way better than the guy from Sun Vulcan, but that's still not enough to put him on the A tier. I think this guy is from Go Ranger. I don't know why Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy is in Go Ranger. I'm gonna put him in the E tier because I don't remember what he did in Go Ranger. Next is Furabijo from Hurricaneger. I'm gonna put her in the C tier because of what happened in that Bokenger movie that had Aka Red in it. I didn't like what happened there, so I'm gonna put her in the C tier. Next is Gara from Die Ranger. She has a really interesting backstory, and she is the most developed character out of all the 3 main generals of Die Ranger. Of Die Ranger's villains. I don't know who this guy is, but I'm gonna put him in the C tier. Gashadokuro from Kaku Ranger. Yeah, he was a really interesting character. I'm gonna put him in the S plus tier because I know that Daimao is the main villain, but when Gashadokuro appeared and fought the Kaku Rangers, he like set the tone for the rest of the series. Because before, the yokai weren't really working for anyone. I have no idea who this guy is, but I'm gonna put him in the E tier. Next is another guy from Goggle 5. I'm gonna put him in the C tier. I don't know who this guy is. I'm also going to put him in the C tier, though. Next is General Schwarz from Tokyuger. He was a really interesting character, almost as interesting as Emperor Zed. So I'm going to put him in the A tier. Next is Gengetsu Kibaoni. He was... Say what you want about Ninja, but actually, never mind. Gengetsu Kibaoni was like... He's like a generic villain, so I'm gonna put him in the C tier. I don't know who this guy is, so I'm gonna put him also in C tier. Gurail from what was it again? Mega Ranger. He was an interesting villain, and I'm gonna put him in the A tier because of that. Next is the other main villain from Gokaiger. I am going to put him in the A tier because I think that he was more entertaining to watch, and he wasn't as generic as the other guy from Gokaiger. I don't know who this guy is. I'm gonna put him in the E tier because I don't like his design. Next is I think this is the guy from it's the guy from Zoojer. I'm gonna put him in the B tier because actually I'm gonna put him in the A tier because he was like more entertaining or something. He was a really cool villain to watch, even though his generals were way more interesting than him. But I like why his motivation behind his evil plan or something. That's what makes a good villain. This guy, I think he's the leader of the villains from Die Ranger, but he never really did anything, so I'm gonna put him in the D tier. Then there's I forgot her name. I think it's Grenadine or something. She was the villain in Go-Go 5. I'm gonna put her in the F tier. I don't know who this guy is, but I'm also gonna put him in the F tier. I have no idea who this guy is either, but he looks cool. I think he's from Gokaiger. I'm gonna put him in the B tier. And then I don't know who this guy is either. There's Grifforzer from Zoo Ranger. I like his design. The only thing I don't like about him is that he was in Zoo Ranger. So I'm gonna put him in the A tier. I have no idea who this guy is, but I don't like his design, so I'm gonna put him in F tier. I've never really watched Magi Ranger, but I've heard what this guy does. I think I'm gonna put him in the D tier. I think this guy is a Chaos from Kyoryuger. He's gonna go in like the A tier. Wait, where's I just realized that Devboss isn't on the tier list. Okay, next is a villain from O Ranger. I forgot what she does, but I'm gonna put her in like B tier. Egam from Mask Man. She was a really interesting character. I'm going to put her in the S+ tier. And then next is a villain from Gingaman. I didn't really like her Monster of the Week designs as much as the other ones. But they still aren't bad designs though. So I'm going to put her in the C tier. I don't know who this guy is. Oh wait, it's a villain from yeah, it's a villain from Magi Ranger. Yeah, it is. I don't know what this villain did because the picture is unclear. Next is I forgot what this guy does in Car Ranger, but I think he had like a big impact on it, so B tier. I think this guy was like the scientist of the bad guys in Car Ranger. I remember that he was like a little entertaining to watch, so I'm gonna put him in the A tier. I don't know who this guy is, but I don't like the design, so I'm gonna put an F tier. I think she's from like, she's one of the villains from Turbo Man. No, not Turbo Man. Turbo Ranger. I was thinking of a lot of old Sentai seasons, and there was like Dino Man, Bio Man, Flash Man, Live Man. So I accidentally said Turbo Man. I'm going to put her in the A tier. Actually B tier, because she only lasted for like 23 episodes, I think. And then there's another villain from Abba Ranger. I've never watched Abba Ranger, so I'm gonna put her in like the D tier. I don't know who this guy is. I think he's like Magna Warrior from Bioman or something. I'm gonna put him in the C tier because I don't know who he is. Next is Candarilla from Kyoryuger. I'm going to put her in the B tier because she was a really interesting character in the series, and she wasn't one of those generic villains or something. Next is the guy from Shinkenger, who has like a really interesting backstory. I think he was like the most interesting of all the villains there. I'm gonna put him in the S tier. Next is a guy from Dynaman. I'm also gonna put him in D tier. Next is the water pollution villain from Goanger. I've never really watched Goanger, but I'm gonna put her in like the B tier. Next is Keller and Mirror from Denjiman. I'm gonna put them in the E tier because I don't think they did anything that much. I don't know who this guy is, so I'm also gonna put him in C tier. And I don't know who this guy is either. This guy is the air pollution guy from Goanger. And I'm also going to... Wait, where is he? Oh, right there. Yeah, I'm also gonna put him in B tier. Next we've got Crayon from Ryu Soldier. Now Crayon is was kind of annoying or something. And I think they're also the reason why Ryu Soldier was why a lot of people didn't like Ryu Soldier because they thought it wasn't serious enough or something at first. But then, now the reason why I'm putting Crayon on the S tier is because Crayon was like very important to the plot of the story and also set the tone based on how the other villains treated them. And next is QAmon. Now QAmon, who has the same actually never mind. Here's a fun fact. So you know how QAmon was like first introduced as QAmon Izayoi? Well, guess what? In like the final episodes of Ninja, QAmon gets this power up. It's known as Sakuya QAmon. And one of my Earth Zero counterparts' favorite video game characters is named Sakuya Izayoi. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, he's in the A tier. Yeah, QAmon is in the A tier because he has a really interesting story. Sorry, sometimes I just think of... Sometimes I have a lot of... Sometimes a lot of things happen in my mind, so I can't really think of so many things at once. Anyway, I don't know who this guy is, but I think this villain is like from Turbo Ranger or something. I'm gonna put him in D tier. I don't know who this guy is either. So I'm gonna put it a D tier. Next is Madame Noir from Tokyoger. She wasn't as interesting as the other characters from Tokyoger. So I'm gonna put her in like the B tier. Next is Mangetsu Kiba from Ninja. I haven't really talked about him yet in my summary of Ninja, but he is really a really interesting character because of the plot twist or something, and also the fact that he is not he's basically the son of Gengetsu Kiba, but he's not the firstborn of Gengetsu Kiba, because the firstborn son of Kiba Gengetsu is Kyuemon Shingetsu Kiba, who is Kyuemon in Ninja. Next is Manmarumba from Hurricaneger. I'm gonna put him in D tier because I didn't know what he did in there. Next is Maria from Jetman. I've never watched Jetman, but I've heard it's a good series, so I'm gonna put her in the B tier. Next is Karantula from Zenkai. I almost said Karantula from Zenkaiger. No, he's from Kira Major. And I think what he did was he was responsible for making the monsters of the week, but then turned good at the end. So I'm gonna put him in the A tier because he serves as like a good foil to Kirame Red, even though Garza is technically the foil to Kirame Red. But I think Karangela is like the evil version of Kirame Red because he gets inspiration from stuff that appeared on Earth, and then uses it to power up the monsters of the week and also the giant monsters of the week. This guy, I think he was from Bioman. I'm gonna put him in the C tier. I don't know who this guy is, so I'm gonna put him in the F tier because I know it E tier. I think he's from Gao Ranger, but I don't think he did anything. Next is Dr. Mazenda from Live Man. I'm also gonna put her in the C tier because I don't really know what she did in Live Man. I've never really watched Live Man. Next is Mazurka from Dai Sentai Goggle 5. I'm also gonna put her in the C tier. Next is the villain from 5 Man. Also in the C tier. Next is Prince Megiddo from Dynaman. I'm gonna put him in the B tier because actually A tier because he had this really interesting story in his character's really interesting in Dynaman, and he also had this really cool power up called Dark Megiddo, which made him look like an evil Sentai Ranger, but he doesn't really count as an evil Sentai Ranger. Next is Melee from Geki Ranger. Now here's the thing. Now I'm gonna put her in the S plus tier. Now even though, because her story is really interesting, even though it's a generic love story or something, but the thing that happens is that it's not the main focus of the plot. It's just something that's cool to know or something. It's like an interesting subplot. And then, so I think what happens is Melee and the other villain in Geki Ranger, they start out as villains, but then they become good at the end because of way more evil villains that show up later. Wait, where are those evil villains or something? Yeah, I can't see them yet. Oh, I think I passed it already. No, wait, I didn't. Where was the... Yeah, I just noticed that Long from Geki Ranger isn't on this tier list. But anyway, even if you think that Melee is the very first female Green Ranger in Super Sentai, she's not for two reasons. Number one is that she counts as an extra hero based on what happened in Gokaiger. And the second thing is that even if she were the first female Green Sentai Ranger, even if she were a female Green Sentai Ranger, Kaku Ranger still has the very first female Green Sentai Ranger, who is Flower Ninja Suiren. Also, the very first Purple Ranger in Super Sentai didn't appear in Geki Ranger either. The very first Purple Ranger in Super Sentai appeared in Kaku Ranger as well. Next is the guy from Go Busters. He was not very interesting, so I'm gonna put him in the C tier. Next is Abare Killer from Abba Ranger, and he is the 6th Ranger. He has like really interesting stories, so I'm gonna put him in the A tier. Next, we've got the villain from Tokyuger. I'm going to put her in the A tier because she had a really interesting story. Like, I think there was like, actually never mind. I suggest you watch Tokyuger for yourself to see what happens and why she's in the A tier. Next, we've got Monster from Bioman. I'm going to put him in the C tier because I like his design, but I don't really know much about Bioman. Next is Princess Multiwa from O Ranger. I am going to put Multiwa in the S+ tier, and you want to know why? It's because I think when I was growing up, when I was watching like Power Rangers Zeo, Archerino was like one of my favorite characters when I was watching Power Rangers Zeo. And because of that, I've decided to put Multiwa from O Ranger in the S+ tier because, yeah. Next is Naria. She has like this very cool catchphrase that the monsters of the week say when they grow when they grow, and then the Zoogers have to fight them with their giant robot or something. But I'm gonna put her in the B tier because she didn't really do anything. Next is the villain from Flashman. It was either Flashman or Changeman. Yeah, I think it was Flashman. I'm gonna put her in the A tier. The Neji Rangers are the next one. Now here's the thing. The Neji Rangers are a very interesting concept. They're also the very first Sentai team that's evil to have all the members in it be evil. The Flowery Kunoichi team has one member who isn't evil, and that's why they're not as evil as the Neji Rangers. So the Neji Rangers are like some kind of evil counterpart to the Mega Rangers. The only problem is that 2 of the Neji Rangers got defeated early, and I think there should have been like this ultimate showdown at the end where all the Neji Rangers and the Mega Rangers were there and they had to fight each other. And that would have been very interesting. I have no idea who this guy is, but I don't like his design, so I'm going to put him in the F tier. Now this guy, he is from Maskman, and I don't really like him that much. I'm going to put him in the F tier. That's because of something that I did in the ending of Maskman. Next is Vancuria from Magi Ranger. Now she has this power to split herself into 2, and for that reason, I'm putting her in the A tier. Next is the guy from Car Ranger. I'm gonna put him in the B tier because he was kind of a generic villain or something. Next is Precious from Ryu Soldier. I'm putting Precious in the A tier. Next is a Prince from Bioman. I don't know what he does because I never watched Bioman, so I'm gonna put him in the C tier. And then next we've got Queen Hadrian from Denji Man, and then later Sun Vulcan. I'm going to put her in the A tier because yeah, I've never really watched Denji Man, but I've watched Sun Vulcan. Next is the villain from Jetman. I'm gonna put him in the B tier for now because I've never watched Jetman. And then we've got Dogold. Dogold has a really interesting backstory. Now actually he has this really cool feature where he gets to actually never mind, it's not really cool, but it makes his character more interesting. Basically his character has a curse that he has to, Dogold is actually a mask and he has to like possess someone. And it turns out that he's possessing a person who would later become like the 6th Ranger of the series. Next is a villain from Gal Ranger. I don't like his design, so I'm putting him in the F tier. Then we've got this villain from Car Ranger. I'm putting him in the B tier because I don't remember what he does, but I know that he is a very dangerous villain. Next is Rio from Geki Ranger. And for the same reason I put Melee in the S+ tier, I'm putting him in the S+ tier as well. Next we've got a guy from Go-Go 5. I'm going to put him in the E tier. Next is Salome from Battle Fever. C tier. Because I don't really know if she did anything that memorable in Battle Fever. Next is the guy from Gingaman. He has really cool Monster of the Week designs, so I'm gonna put him in the A tier. And next we've got Sandaru from Hurricaneger. He has this. I like his design, his character design, so I'm gonna put him in the A tier, and I think he also appeared late in Hurricaneger. And then next is Sargain, also from Hurricaneger. I'm gonna put him in the B tier. Next is, I think this is Commander Head or something. He's the guy from Battle Fever. I'm also going to put him in C tier. And I forgot what this guy is. I think he's also from Hurricaneger. And I'm gonna put him in the, and he also appeared with Sandaru, I think. I'm gonna put him in the B tier because even though he's a good villain, his character appearance is not as good as Sandaru's one. Next is Scorpio. Scorpio had a really good character arc. The Scorpio arc in Q Ranger was one of the best ones in the thing, which is why I'm gonna put him in the S tier. It's S for Scorpio. Next is the villain from Gal Ranger. I'm gonna put him in the E tier. No, actually, C tier. And next is this villain from Die Ranger. I forgot what his name was, but he was like he had a major role in Die Ranger. And the next is Shima from Changeman. Yeah, it was Changeman. It was either Changeman or Flashman. I'm gonna put her in the B tier, cause yeah. And then there's Shibolena or something. I'm going to put her in like the A tier because she has a really good character arc in in Mega Ranger. Yeah. Yeah, she was one of my favorite characters in Mega Ranger. And then next is another Gao Ranger character. I don't like his design, so I'm gonna put him in the F tier. Next is Igaron from Kyoryuger. He had really good character development. I'm gonna put him in the A tier. Next is Barizorg from Gokaiger. He also had really good character. He also had a really good backstory. And also a good rivalry with one of my favorite Rangers in the series. Just like with Igaron. Next is Spellmaster Pierre. D tier. Even though he's from Go-Go 5. He has a really cool looking design. And then next is, I forgot who this guy is, so I'm gonna put him in the F tier. Also, I'm gonna put this guy in the F tier because I don't like his design either. Tank Joe wasn't really that interesting as a villain, so I'm gonna put him in the E tier. This guy Tao Zant, he is from Hurricaneger. I'm gonna put him in the A tier because I like his design, and also his story of how he's like an evil ninja from space or something. Next is King Ryuan from Bokenger. He isn't as interesting as the guy from the other guy from Bokenger. But I'm still gonna put him in the A tier because Bokenger is one of my favorite seasons. I think this guy is from Jetman, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna put him in the B tier. I don't really like the Gao Ranger general villain designs, and I don't know where this villain is from either. I think it looks like a Jetman. She looks like a Jetman villain. They look like a Jetman villain. Next is Wen Dinu. Yeah, I'm not really sure. And then Wen Dinu is also from Hurricaneger. I'm gonna put her in like the wait. Yeah, I'm gonna put her in the B tier. Next is Waizuru, or Weisel, depending on how you want to pronounce the name. He was one of my favorite villains in Ryu Soldier, so I'm gonna put him in the A tier. And then next we've got Wolzard. I'm gonna put him in the C tier because he should have stayed purple when he turned good, but instead he got his suit changed into a red one, and I don't like the color red, especially if it replaces the color purple, because the color purple is way better than the color red in my opinion. There's too many Red Rangers. Also, another thing, Wolzard is not the very first Purple Ranger in all of Super Sentai. Like I said with Geku Ranger, the very first Purple Ranger in Super Sentai appeared in Kaku Ranger. And then what else? What else was there? Oh yeah, also Wolzard doesn't really count as a Sentai Ranger because he's considered an extra hero. Next is Yami no Yaiba from Bokenger. He was kind of a generic villain, but I really like his design. And also Bokenger is one of my favorite seasons. I think I said that so many times. Next is Yodana. And Yodana is too powerful for even the S+ ranking. Which is why we are going to have a new ranking specifically for Yodana. And it's going to... And yeah. So as you know, Yodana is one of my favorite characters in Kira Major. And then there's the villain from Go Anja. I'm gonna put him in the A tier because I think he made the series more serious or something. And he also appeared in like the end game. He was like, I think he was like the final boss of Go Anjers or something. I don't know who this villain is, but I think he's from Turbo Ranger or something. I'm gonna put him in the D tier. Next is the main villain of Gingaman. I'm also putting him in the D tier. I think this is General Zenobia from Dynaman, but I have no idea who she is. So I'm gonna put her in like the B tier because I have no idea. If actually I'm gonna put her in the A tier in case this is General Zenobia from Dynaman. Next is Zonette from Car Ranger. She was okay, so I'm gonna put her in the B tier. Next is General Zydos from Die Ranger. He was the least interesting out of all the Die Ranger villains. Wait, where did I put the other guy in Die Ranger? Oh, right here. Yeah, he was the least interesting out of all the villains from Die Ranger. Next is Endolf from Kyoryuger. He was very interesting. He could have appeared in more episodes. I'm putting him in the C tier because he could have appeared in more episodes, but then Dogold possessed him, and he only appeared in like 10 episodes, I think, and most of them were like in the end game arc or something. So yeah, Endolf was wasted potential. He should have appeared in like more episodes. Next is Geysorg. Geysorg is a really interesting villain because here's the thing: there's actually 2 Geysorg villains in the Super Sentai. One of them was in a special. The other was in Ryu Soldier, but we're going to focus on Nada from Ryu Soldier. I'm gonna put Geysorg in the S tier because Nada was a really interesting character. I think at first a lot of people didn't really like Nada because they thought that he wasn't really gonna be that important to the plot, and then nobody really cared about the new characters or something. But then it turned out that he was Geysorg the whole time, and that changed a lot of people's opinions on Ryu Soldier, because before, at first I thought that Ryu Soldier was like a mediocre series at best. But then after the arc with Nada and Geysorg and stuff, it changed my mind about Ryu Soldier, and now I think the later half of Ryu Soldier was a good series. Next we've got the Earth Pollution guy from Go Anja. And I'm going to put him in the A tier because I think he was the one who had the most important thing to the plot, which also involved the guy from Go Anja, who the Go Anjers fight at the end. And last but not least, we've got Zamigo from Lupin Ranger vs. Pato Ranger. Now, it's kind of hard to rank Zamigo because on one hand, he doesn't appear that much, but on the other, he doesn't... The fact that he doesn't appear is... Here's an unpopular opinion. I feel like if Zamigo appeared in every single episode, then he wouldn't have been such an interesting character. Because the thing with Zamigo is that the fact that he didn't appear in that much episodes that's what made him way more that what made him more interesting to the plot. Because the thing with the Lupin Rangers that is that Zamigo captured their people that were close to them, and then put them, and then trapped them somewhere. And then what happened next was because of that, the Lupin Rangers had to find him or something. So in the few episodes where Zamigo did show up, it actually meant that he was important to the plot in some way. The problem is that Super Sentai has like a lot of filler. And for that reason, I'm going to put Zamigo in the S+ tier. And now, here is the full tier list. So now we've got the F tier. And the next is the E tier. And then the D tier. And then here's everyone in the C tier. And then what next? Oh yeah, and here's everyone in B tier and A tier. And finally, we have the S tier and the S+ tier, and Yodona is at the top of the tier list. And there were a lot of villains that weren't on this villains tier list for Super Sentai. Like, Stay Caesar didn't appear. What else? Fumin from Mask Man didn't appear either. The Hana Rangers weren't in this one. There was that other villain from Lupin Ranger vs. Pato Ranger who didn't appear. What else? Uden and Saden didn't appear in this one. Gachi Reyes never appeared. Oh, I forgot to hold on. Yeah, I think you should see the. I think this is a better view of the top tiers in my tier list. So anyway, that is all for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I have nothing to do with Kuroninja.